Peace to everyone in the ethos, all my melanated peoples. You have reached the Real HD show, the higher discussion. Don't say nothing. Let's just get into this introduction. We're going to get into our elders and ancestors blueprint right here on the Real HD show.
Supremacists who own everything, by the way. That's what they call ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Really, they stole it all, okay? Because that's how they got their capital. That's how they got the building in the first place. That's how they got the land to build the building, by taking it from somebody. People who, in the northwestern hemisphere, by their own admission, see, I'm not making a false charge, because when you make charges, you have to back them up. I'm just going by what the white supremacists told me in the 8th grade, indirectly, in the history books. That's what they call them. They said, Neely Fuller, little colored boy, sit down here and study history. I say, okay, what's history? Well, it's a record of the past, and I want you to know about some of the things that I have done in the past. And what I have done is that I took a whole lot of land from some people that I considered simple-minded, ignorant, backward, and made it my land. I killed them. I killed their children. I killed their grandmothers. I killed them. And I forced them on little portions of land that I call reservations. I'll reserve a portion of what I took from you for you, and even on that land, you're not going to be able to do anything except what I say do, which is mostly stay drunk all the time. And that's my history, and I'm proud of it. And I want this little colored boy that I've dragged his ancestors over here to do the work on the land that I took. And I want him to learn it. I was born on a slave ship. Me, personally. The slave ship is the entire planet. That's the way you look at it. Because they have taken over the minds and bodies of the people on the planet. The white supremacists are the most powerful people on the planet. So the most powerful people are the people you have to look to get whatever it is you want, whether you think you're doing that or not. But there are many what you call, quote, unquote, proud black people who have that short-sighted vision who do not see that. They say that I got this. I went to this university, and I studied, and I got this. Who set up the university, sir or ma'am? I mean, stop and think about what you're saying when you talk about your great degrees that plaster your walls.
Well,
stop and think about who gave you those degrees of knowledge. Now, they call it degrees, meaning I'm not giving you the whole thing.
I'm giving you
I'm not giving you 360. That could be. I don't know. It comes down, it's been discussed by many, many people, why do the white supremacists practice white supremacy? I have not done a lot of research on that. There are people who have, and there are many, many theories, there are many concepts about why this is. But I came to the conclusion that they finally pulled it off. And that's the part that I deal with. I just deal with the mechanical part. In my opinion, in the modern day, because they are already in position, see, they can do anything they want to with the black people now, with the non-white people. See, they don't have any fear. See, they might have had fear when they started out, but that fear has been erased by what? Once you are in charge of everything, you're not in fear of the thing that you're in charge of. When you're trying to get in charge, that's where the fear is. Once you solidify it, now they're on a roll. So what they do now is what? Bask in the glory of what they're doing. They have already captured everybody that they wanted to capture. They're not running around trying to capture somebody, they're still out there loose somewhere.
Yes.
No, they have made all of the non-white people of this planet their prisoners of war. So when you are totally in charge of your prisoners of war, you're really not afraid of your prisoners of war when you can exterminate all of them. See what I mean? That's the logic. The logic says that I don't have any fear of anything that I'm totally in charge of. See, when I say total, I mean total. So what do they really get out of this now that they have achieved what they set out to do? They're not trying to achieve it. They have achieved it. It's called white supremacy. It's fun, and it's glory, and it's material gain.
All righty.
Those three things, that's what they get out of it. Fun, glory, and material gain. And if you just watch how they go about doing things, they enjoy. When they gun some black person down, that's fun. It's like chasing foxes. Run, black person, run. Oh, boy, I want you to run. Oh, you think you can run away from me? You can't run far enough or fast enough to find anything to step on, little black fella.
They control everything.
I control this entire world. Where are you going to when you run from me? When I control every place that you're going to, including up under your grandmother's porch. You can't get away from me.
All right. Peace to everybody in the ethos. You have reached the Real HD Show. I'm your host, Vic. I'm glad everybody got to come out for what is Juneteenth Part 2, the truth. Are we holiday zombies or not? I'm not really sure, man. There's a lot of explosive facts that we talked about in our last broadcast that could point exactly to that. And then there's a lot more. I want to welcome the family into the broadcast. That was our elders and ancestors' blueprint, and that was the Honorable Dr. Neely Fuller giving us a whole bunch of, dropping a whole bunch of gems and jewels. You know what I mean? We can't even put enough in our hand to really comprehend what's really popping and what the brother was really dealing with. We need to have a cipher on it. We really need to break it down so it can forever and continuously be broke and overstood by the masses. And I think I got somebody backstage, warrior, scholar, brother, endeared to the warrior class within the state of Nueva York. I'm gonna bring in brother Lion Blyden. Peace to you, bro. You on the Real HD show, man. How you doing? Unmute yourself. What's going on, brother? From the rough man. Buff. How you doing? What's going on tonight?
Peace and love, family. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All right,
glad you could join the broadcast.
I thank you for having me and greeting your listeners in the words of peace. Shalom, assalamu alaikum, hotep, alafia, and as always, race first.
Be first all the time. You know what I mean? That's why we here tonight. Are you familiar with the topic on deck, brother?
I am, but I didn't catch the first part, so I'll sit back and listen.
Well, the first part happened on Monday. And just to do a recap of what happened on Monday was we started out with this here. So we're supposed to be celebrating Juneteenth, but these are the adornments that are in a treasonous fashion, if you're going by the laws and commitments of this country. They're flying these flags all over this White House, right? And it's in an illegal manner. It's in a treasonous manner. But yet also these are supposed to be, instead of the Juneteenth flag, as it were, we're fine. There's a Roy G. Biv flag flying. Now I'm not sure. Now, I'm pretty sure I know what your take on the rainbow population, but I'll let you speak for yourself because that's what the Real HD show is about. The higher discussion. It's about your voice, your victory. So you tell us, man. Let's just start right there. What do you think about this? Oh shoot, I think we lost, and I think brother's back. Are you back, bro?
Yep.
Okay, great. So talk to us, man. What do you think about how they're doing commencements on the White House lawn, celebrating Juneteenth, which is supposed to be an Independence Day for the formerly enslaved? Mm-hmm. I won't desecrate our ancestors with too much nomenclature, but here we have what proceeds to be on the White House lawn. What does this have to do with the Juneteenth celebration? Your thoughts?
First of all, I think calling it a celebration in itself is a thing.
Right.
It could be. It really should be a commemoration, a memorial of sorts. Specifically because of the fact that it was only a partial emancipation. We are still we physically set free, but still due to the laws and other things in this land, we are still under. Looking at that image, that building would be the building that is in charge of the current slavery situation that me and my people are under here. So I wouldn't expect anything from them, actually. Specifically the holiday in itself. I was never so it's brother, interesting.
Brother, we private on these online streets. We not beholden to anybody. I'm not beholden to any corporate sponsors. All my sponsorships are melanated folks who want to hear shoot plain. So shoot it, brother. Whatever you got to say, let it go.
I respect that. Plus, I figured you wouldn't even have me on if you was worried about what I was gonna say, because I'm gonna say it.
Not at all, brother. Go ahead. That's why I look at you here. I wish a couple of other brothers and sisters that I invited make their way in. Perhaps they will. Go ahead, bro.
So as far as it being national, going to be a holiday that we memorialize and observe every year, it should be a national holiday, right? So that's I have no problem with that. The only problem I have with that is we didn't necessarily need to wait for the national holiday to take the day off. So one of the points that I say is if we move as a unit, things bend to our will because of us moving as a unit. So this would have happened a long time ago had we just taken the charge to just not go to work on the Monday of the thing or whatever the day of the thing was, right? There was a story that came out a while ago. I think it was Mexican workers that shut down almost half a city as far as the industries was concerned. They just stopped working until they got their demands met, and they was met, of course, because that's how things operate. So now, when you see that there was no demands being met here, this was a quote unquote gift. You got to look and see why would they make it a national holiday now? What is now that they would do that now, right? And then when you see that they do that, and then as far as what you was just describing, them doing it in, you know what I'm saying, not necessarily the most honorable way, you know what I'm saying, mixing other things into the thing. Now you know what I'm saying, it's not necessarily a pure gesture and a Trojan horse of sorts. Also, one last thing, you started off by saying that the flags that were hung hung illegally. And to that point, you're probably correct. I'm not sure. You might be right about that as far as it being hung. But
All right, brother, I got you going in and out, and I must have missed about 5 seconds of what you just said. If you could repeat.
okay, I was contemplating out loud about the flag, whether or not it actually would be an illegal gesture to hang it there. But just to the point of illegality and flags, you mentioned the red, black, and green flag. I would assume when you called it the Juneteenth flag, unless you were talking about the red, white, and blue Juneteenth flag.
Well, flags are important. They carry energy. They carry representation. They carry symbolism. They carry power and statement, right? That you want to kind of show the world who you are and what you're about and what your past is about, your present is about, and your future, of course, is about. So,
Right.
of course, I would love to see the red, black, and green be hung there. But of course, that's the nemesis of the American brand. So I don't really, I wouldn't expect that to happen. But I wouldn't expect an illegal flag to be flown as well.
Well, as far as flags that just represent a thing and it's not necessarily representing a nation,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? That right there is probably more of a decoration. Now, they're not supposed to use the U.S. flags as decoration. That's actually constitutionally illegal. But
Yes, sir.
having the other one there, I'm not sure if that's illegal. But what I was going to say was the red, black, and green flag is not the Juneteenth flag.
No, it's not.
Right.
I didn't expect to see that. I was just saying that if they were going to be even remotely appropriate, that's what they would use. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you on that. But then again, why expect anything appropriate, though, right? So
Right.
one of the things our president general says all the time is you can't expect moral actions from immoral people. So if they're going to remain in a position of still holding us in a state of perpetual slavery, based on the Constitution of the United States, if that, then we can't. It's an immoral position, and we can't expect moral actions from them. And until we get serious to make changes according to the Constitution, as far as that slavery clause is concerned, or those two slavery clauses are concerned, then we are perpetually going to remain in that state of slavery. And Juneteenth is just a mere figment of our imagination.
It's interesting that you brought up, and I'm assuming you're referring to the 13th Amendment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah, of course. And of course, those sorts of iterations are sprinkled throughout the 13th through 15th Amendment, as it were. And of course, you're right on target when you say that we also need to make those changes post haste. Then we also have the opportunity to speak on and talk about how with the media machine that they use to promote these things, not only the optics, but the I guess, for lack of a better term, the pseudo executive orders that they signed. Biden signed an executive order stating, I believe it was last year, that we were in the 165th anniversary of celebrating Juneteenth as a nation and as a national in national recognition. And that couldn't be more false when Texas didn't even honor Juneteenth as a holiday until 1980. So I'm a little perplexed as to how people could get out their barbecue grill pits, wear their t-shirts, put the kente cloth on, and celebrate things that have obvious falsehoods in them. Your thoughts on the 1980 165-year piece? That math ain't mathing. Your thoughts?
I'm not sure exactly.
That math ain't mathing, bro. Your thoughts?
Can you hear me? I'm not sure about the original date of the first quote unquote commemoration or celebration, right? Because I know that it was black veterans, former soldiers, that originally commemorated the day or the time called Juneteenth. That was before 1980, and I'm not sure of the date. That may be what he was referencing. I'm not sure, but I don't know the quote, and I didn't do that just to check that out. But it was just on that point real quick, because something I'm surprised I wasn't more aware of. I must have heard it somewhere, but it's not readily promoted. The fact that the message itself, that the emancipation was coming, would have been read to the formerly enslaved people by the black soldiers from the North. It wasn't just read to them by this white general that came down.
Yeah, Robert Granger, correct.
Mix of those people.
Yeah, Robert Granger, correct. I just want to ask you, bro, before you continue, is there like a laptop or something that you can pop in on? Because I don't want you to, we want you to hear, we want yourself to be heard, and we want the audience to clearly hear you. And it seems like you're kind of like popping in and out. Is it on my end or yours?
I could probably try and speak a little bit clearer. Is this better?
Yeah, it was just your signal was going in and out, like it was like bopping in and out of the broadcast, and I just wanted to make sure that.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't have another option. So if we miss something, I'll just have to repeat it. It's okay. I don't mind.
No, that's okay, brother. I just want to make sure you were good, and the audience can hear you, because we're here for each other's benefit. We're here to build and correct these errors and make this thing right. Yeah, man. So you were saying, continue.
I lost my place. Where were we? We were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking about how I brought up the fact that Texas in 1980 just officially commemorated Juneteenth as a holiday, but yeah, Biden and them, CBC and as it were, signed an executive order and did the electric slide to the fact that it was the 165th anniversary of Juneteenth nationally. And I think
it might be, like I said, as far as the original commemoration, not necessarily the state, the state sanctioned version, but the original group of people that came together to honor Juneteenth. I think that might be. I don't know, but I think that might be the date that he's speaking about.
No, I mean the actual anniversary number is correct. But they didn't recognize this 465 years.
I hear what you're saying. They didn't recognize it.
that didn't pop off like that. So it's all cap. Matter of fact, look, I'm gonna put on my other one right here. See what I'm saying? That's how much cap that is.
Double cap.
For sure. I'm about to put on 4 caps because they lying. They being phony for sure.
But when you got your expectation is that's what they're gonna do, like that's what you expect,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let me put back on the promo and let me look at it like this. One of the captions are, "Have you heard? It's not the day freed, but it's the day we were told that we were free. Celebrating Juneteenth, holiday zombies or not." I want to get your take on that, man. to our detriment? Are our people holiday zombies? What do you think?
Up until that last time you asked it, I was going to ask you to clarify holiday zombies, but the way you just asked it that last time, I absolutely get it. So yeah, I would say a lot of times I quote a lot of our elders and ancestors rather than
Please
even
do,
use
please
them.
do. We rock hard on our elders and ancestors right here on the Real HD show. We rock hard for them. So please quote them as much as possible, because I got a lot of young people that watch on Mob Crush and Twitch, and unfortunately they're not. This is the only place they're gonna get that.
First of all, you just made me feel, oh, what even is my crush? But never mind. Anyway,
Mob Crush. It's like Twitch, where a lot of young people get on there and they play the games. They game a lot, and they live stream while they play the games. But there's a talk show. There's a live streaming component to it that's pretty heavy as well. And I just try to catch as many heads as possible through that platform, Yeah,
clearly I'm too old for that. No worries. So to quote one of our great ancestors, Dr. John Henry Clark.
Yes, please.
We like to practice what he called showbiz liberation.
Woo! Okay.
And he says it in reference to marching and protesting. He says, marching was a tool and it was a strategy to be used at a time. But now at this point, and this is relevant to a lot of different things, it's just a waste of shoe leather because there's other actions that could happen. You understand what I'm saying? So it's trying to now. Are you outside doing these things for like? You want to go to this place and show that you're being as African as you can, and I only see you once a year.
Ooh.
Are you doing out your kente cloth just for this?
Ooh, let's go.
I'm about to go, so now we going. So I was just at Juneteenth this year, and several people came up to me and said, "Hey, yo, Lion, you got a red, black, and green flag?" Now, the problem with that is, no, if I had them, I'd have just gave them to it. That's not an issue. But the problem is, why don't you already have them?
Right.
Year round. And it shows where people
that's general orders. What's going on with you?
Exactly. Now, as a representative of the UNIA, I definitely feel like we should be more prominent in pushing them out there and selling them, and that's coming. So I apologize on the behalf of the nation, but still, there's other, if you want to go that hard, there's Chinese companies that you can get it from. Don't do that, but still, you know what I'm saying? If you really wanted to represent your race and your people, you could be doing these things year round and not on camera and not on, for likes and for video or for TV and for this, that, and the third.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Grinding when nobody's watching. You feel me? You know what that's like. You feel me? And so so when you say
hopefully your brother comes back on. Yeah, last 3 seconds you just said.
As far as zombies is concerned, they real life are in a different level of consciousness until Juneteenth come around. Then they pop into pure black, and then you don't see them again till Kwanzaa.
Yeah, man, you gonna see me here twice a week all year long, trying to educate the babies and hoping everybody and their mama could jump on in, or at least listen in, or at least comment in, and have something to contribute toward our victory within this hemisphere. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. And I'm glad I got to speak to you today, because we don't usually get to speak as much. I think you were in the Rock for a celebration that we had on Jenny, right? That's the last time I seen you, I think, brother.
Last time I saw you, I was just up there though for Malcolm X Day.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I had a whole lot of family drama, so that had to be what it was on that day. But Malcolm is always in the heart. You know what I mean? That's always brother Malcolm is always the gold standard in our book right here on the Real HD show. So yes, sir. So I want to get into. So I believe also that these are holiday zombies. I think we take way too much time to and way too much leisure effort, in terms of opening that barbecue pit or, throwing on some hip hop and dancing. And I always tell my sons, where's your work? If you had a major accomplishment, then I don't mind partying, I don't mind celebrating. But where's the major accomplishment that honored the celebration or made the celebration worth celebrating?
Right.
When brother Daniel Prude passed away and they were on Jefferson and they started doing the electric slide, I went off and people didn't get it. And I was like, you wouldn't, because we ain't did no work. We gathered, but where's the work?
You better preach.
Ain't nobody doing no electric slide on my watch. That's just a wrap for that. And I was the bad guy for the day. And I was like, okay. Yeah. I'll be the bad guy for our babies understanding the work that needs to be done.
See, people don't want to, you know what I'm saying? And that's part of our problem as a people. You know what I'm saying? We don't want that. I'm gonna use the word discipline. We don't want nobody to say, you know what I'm saying, put us on the right track. You know what I'm saying? Remember, we always talk about how back in the day the OGs used to ... But now, even our generation, you know what I'm saying, our generation didn't listen to the OGs, and now we don't got enough OGs in our generation. And so, you run into that issue. It's frustrating, man.
It is. And there's a pendulum, if you will, or I'll say a lack of understanding balance, whereas a lot of our, millennials or X's or just younger people, forget the labels, are a little, moving very swiftly without a lot of strategy. And, you'll put a Juneteenth event together without understanding whether or not that's really what you should be celebrating. Is that really the energy you want to be putting out there? And the intention, and if you're not doing the knowledge behind the intention of how Juneteenth is created or proliferated, what frequencies then are you putting out there for future prosperity and progression? You know what I mean? And I'll jump onto this because I showed this last show, and this is the declaration that Robert Granger read to the people.
The black soldiers that was with him read to the people.
Yes, sir. So it says the people are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves are free. That's a loaded statement right there. We're not even gonna jump down that rabbit hole unless you got 4 hours, brother. Yeah, man, it's super interesting. This involves this involves an absolute equality of personal rights and property between former masters and slaves. Connection here to for existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. So that's the distinction being made, that you're no longer a slave by the books. Now you're an employee by the books. The freedmen are advised to remain in their present homes and work for wages. Cap. I'm about to put my third cap on. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts. And I thought that was profound right there, being the absolute work that we put in their particular military, and that they will not be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere. Wow. They will not be supported in their idleness. So in other words, get to work.
They can't hang out over there. Yeah.
You can't hang out after you've been busting your hump and after your people been raped, slaughtered, pillaged, yada, yada, yada. And then the only people that even got you in a positionality to win this particular turf war that you into, you can't even put your feet up. And you ain't getting paid for it either. Don't look for getting no military money. Don't look for none of it.
Right.
Your thoughts on the general orders from Galveston back in 1865. What's your thoughts, brother?
Well, again, constitutionally, we know that dealing with the amendment, slavery is abolished unless, right? So as long as they got that language in there, that document has been since made sort of not true. Immediately after that, people were still enslaved. People, there were still actual slaves by the definition that we know up until the late 60s, 1960s.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So we know that document didn't do what it was supposed to do. We know that the document came from the order issued from President Lincoln, and that he said that if he could stop the war without freeing the slaves, he would have done that. Meaning there was not a benevolent move that he just did that, and he was just so generous that he saw the plight of black folks and stopped this immoral system. He saw it as a way to win a war. And therefore they started creating the black laws and things to further to maintain what they had before, just slavery under a different name.
Yes, sir.
I do want to say real quick. Can we guys say one thing real quick?
No, absolutely. What's yours?
I do believe that Juneteenth and Kwanzaa should be and can be positives for us. We should be able to have those holidays that we celebrate, come together and build. Building being a key. Commemorating the day, honoring those that went before us, you know what I mean, but with a meaning behind it. For a couple years we were on the Juneteenth committee here for probably like 4 or 5 years. We have the largest Juneteenth celebration in the world besides Texas. And
yeah, I know how y'all get down. I gotta go. Yeah. I gotta come up there and spend another Kwanzaa.
Definitely,
I do it big.
It's huge. But a lot of people recently have been complaining about, it's turned corporate. You know what I'm saying? It's not what it used to. It's definitely not what it used to be. It used to be everything local, all of the families and stuff, local businesses, local vendors. Now it's if you got the money to come be there, you there, and that's sort of taken away from everything. We supposed to be at least talking about what we have done up until this day and what we're gonna do till next Juneteenth to further our liberation, and that's nowhere in anybody's discussion.
Wow. Hello. I challenged last year. I challenged the Malcolm X committee on that very notion that we need to be talking about how are we going to flex and develop our political muscle and our self clandestine muscle, as it were, in terms of how we're going to fill out our own destiny and how we're moving forward and determining our own future. And I wish we would do more of that in preparation for the next year and years to come. I think it's absolutely necessary.
I mean, so much so that it should be the thing that we're focused on.
Yeah.
Like that should be the thing. Like, okay, every year, it's 6 months apart, Kwanzaa and Juneteenth. So, okay, boom. When Kwanzaa come around, we sit down at, mind you, we talk about self-economic, group economics, the 7 things I can't think right now. Cooperative economics is the word I was looking for.
Yes, sir.
And uplift of our people. That's the 7 days of Kwanzaa. So that should be going 365. We can use that blueprint to come back around in Juneteenth and be talking about how they're honoring those who suffered, commemorate what they went through, respect the day. All right, y'all want to go over there and dance a little bit, we're gonna let them dance over there a little bit, but at some level, we have to have a understanding that we have to discuss what was the progress that was made, because it has to be show me the work.
Yes,
We
sir.
did
Yes, sir.
over
Thus,
this time, then go there.
so thus the term holiday zombies. Because if you're not doing that, are you just laying back in the repetitive Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's of it all, and you just laying in a cut waiting to receive?
I think that right there, what you just said, is the best example of it. When you talk about Thanksgiving, Christmas, and not necessarily New Year's Eve, but definitely Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, um, especially for those of us, you know what I'm saying, in the movement who have stepped away from the Abrahamic religions, you know what I'm saying, those who can't break away from the holidays, it's like a habit that can't be broken, you know?
Right, right.
And it's just interesting. Yeah, my wife just said they brought that feeling over to Kwanzaa and Juneteenth, where it's like it's just a day off. It's just a day to it is a day to barbecue. So that's just what we do. When Rome do as the Romans do, that type of
Hmm.
idea.
Hmm.
And it's like, you know, I mean, Candace Owens just said Juneteenth is ghetto and made up. She just was caught saying that.
Yeah,
And
she's a piece of work, but every once in a while, some truth will fly out. Yeah,
yeah. But then when you look at the statement that she makes, a lot of the statements that she makes, you know what I'm saying, is like this. It's where so if all holidays are made up, why then is there issue? I don't know. She's weird, but that's not what we talk about. But so yeah. My only point that I wanted to make is I think that at this point in time, the two holidays, both of them are potential positives for us moving forward if we use them correctly. As far as the zombie thing, though, we got to come away from just to be going through the motions. We have to be putting something together. And I would use Dr. Claude Anderson as a perfect example. He give us the blueprint or the black print for us to come together, and we can compare notes every year. Like that would be awesome, you know. So everybody can hear this. That's what it is.
yeah, man. I wanted to ask you and your lovely wife, sister. I wanted to ask y'all a question. Did any community center or civic organization or government organization invite you down to any sort of legislative process or voting process or community affirming process, and they asked you whether you wanted Juneteenth as a national holiday? Did that ever happen for you?
No,
No,
Did that
no,
happen for anybody that you know?
no.
no.
I have heard people say that it should be a paid day off, but every time I've heard it, it's never been in a serious conversation. Um, yeah, because again, it's just the thing where it's like, oh, we get a day off, okay, fine, I'll take that. It for the longest. Again, we've had the largest Juneteenth for a long time.
Yeah,
Up until a couple years ago, you could walk up and down the street to some people that you've seen at Juneteenth the last few years and ask them what Juneteenth was, and they couldn't tell you.
correct.
Um, the house that I live in now is the house I grew up in. It's right on the same street where Juneteenth happens at. So I grew up in Juneteenth. Okay, every year that was my life, and I remember not knowing what it was. I
Mm,
remember when I found out it was, you know what I'm saying, I was a teenager before when I found out, and it should have been a regular thing. It never was. It's still to this moment not a regular thing. The only reason people know so much about it now is because of the national holiday. Um, and I think that's a problem. That's part of the reason we are no longer on the Juneteenth committee here in Buffalo, because that's not their focus is not um the liberation discussion. The focus is definitely a little zombie-ish.
And for me, I'm not from here. I'm originally from Jamaica.
okay.
So
What part?
I Montego Bay. So
Okay.
I
Okay. Nice. Very good.
so I actually know more about Juneteenth than the people here. When I asked about, my husband taught me about Juneteenth. Um, when I asked people here over the years if they were going to go to Juneteenth, they would immediately say, "Oh no, I'm not going. People get shot there." And I'd be like, "I've been going for years and nobody got shot." So I'm the one that actually been teaching people more about the history of Juneteenth. People that, they didn't know anything about the history of Juneteenth. So I actually introduced a lot of people to going to Juneteenth here. So yeah.
Yeah, I
Right.
appreciate you, sis. Thank you for your contribution. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Jump into the conversation whenever you feel. We love it. We love it. Yeah, so I want to go back on a point you said earlier, Brother Blyden. Line, you said that there was slavery still going on once the quote unquote general orders were read, and there was slavery still going on in areas like Kentucky, areas like Delaware. Of course, there were 250,000, in shackled human beings in Texas at the time, and they only read it in the seaport area of Galveston. So how could it have reached inland in an effective way? So those people suffered until that happened, and not to mention you brought up the 13th Amendment and how nationally this wasn't even something that could be enforced until December 18th, 1865. So when exactly is our liberation moment?
Well, are you asking me that question?
Yes, sir. And also because, I lived in Iraq for 18 years. I'm from the Bronx, New York. When you're trying to get liberation, you're throwing them hands, you throwing them things. And when was our moment where we threw them things and declared that we was free from them peoples? So I'm a little confused.
Right.
When did that happen? Did that happen?
Okay, so you about to let me ramble right now. Sorry.
Do your thing, brother. That's why. Listen, I line up the questions.
So
You knock them out. Let's go.
all right, this is a multi-part answer, so we just gonna roll with it. So starting from freeing the Emancipation Proclamation, let's say that
Yes, sir.
there was a poem written for Lincoln, thanking him for emancipating the slaves, and the poem ended up turning into a song that they sang. A group of children at a school sang when Lincoln came to the city. A group of black children. That song was "Lift Every Voice and Sing."
I'm familiar.
In 1912, I want to say. I don't remember the year. I can't remember the year offhand. But that's when they wrote that song. And it was for Lincoln. It was a poem for Lincoln, and then it turned to a song. And later it was called the Black Hymn, or the Black Hymn, or the Negro Hymn. In 1917 really, but in 1920, the Ethiopia Land of Our Fathers was adopted to be the national anthem for the flag, red, black, and green, which was also adopted in 1920, created in 1918. Um, when we talk about the liberation thing, I always ask people, do they know the national anthem that goes with the red, black, and green flag? And I already know they don't know that, but they're going to say, lift every voice and sing. And I ask them, where in there are they talking about a nation? Right? Because when you sing the national anthem, you know what I'm saying? Then the American national, the bombs bursting in air, you get that war imagery, right? Same thing, right? Overcoming an obstacle imagery. In the lift every voice and sing, it's nowhere. That's nowhere, right? And so I ask him again, well, where are they talking about? They're not talking about a nation. They're not talking about overcoming adversity. Well, they're talking about hope in the future, right? In lift every voice and sing. Hope for the future, for us to be, greater later. Another issue for us.
Right.
Now, Ethiopia, Land of Our Fathers, has that discussion. It's in 1920. So the answer to your first question was, when did our liberation happen? It would be 1920, when we created our Declaration of Rights of Negro Peoples of the World and the Constitution of the UNIACL, which gave us the flag, the red, black, and green flag, the Pledge of Allegiance to that flag, and the national anthem. Um, of the as far as the fight is concerned, 65 and 1917, I would say, the fights were ongoing. You know what I'm saying? Booker T. Washington was one of the main voices that ended up trying to bring people together at the end of those things. Garvey ended up organizing the Universal African Legion. He did go meet with the head Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. After that meeting, he went in uniform with the African Legion to meet with them. After that meeting, the lynchings in the South slowed down. Um, so I think there's other things, but as far as that's concerned, the culmination of all of the fights that happened in um, that period of time was us creating our own government, our own nation, our own flag, our own security system, um, our own nursing facilities and nurses, our own doctors, our own lawyers, um, we've ever made. So it happened in 1920. August 30. Actually, we claim the entire month of August because there was multiple things that happened throughout August. But I would say August 1st through August 31st, 1920 was the period of our liberation.
Yes, sir. I only say that because we're so quick to accept anything that puts us in the nomenclature of what Americans do that we're not even hip to the fact that someone else pre-programmed this Juneteenth scenario that everyone revolves around.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my reason for asking that. And also, I'm an educator. I teach at U Prep High School. You're an educator. And in a room full of peers or co-educators, no one can tell us when that actual fight happened and when we were actually declarative of our own freedom. So I appreciate you for busting down our audience for that and letting them understand where that was. Here's a follow-up question though. Why don't you think we commemorate the Garvey parade procession and the efforts that he made at that point more succinctly within the confines of the I know the answer to this, but we gonna pretend like we don't know each other. We just meeting because we on these airwaves. You bust down why we don't do this as we should for the audience that's watching. What do you think? Why do you think we're not as advantageous about celebrating when we have put down our independence efforts? What's your thoughts?
There are a couple answers to that. I think one of the biggest answers is fear. People know what happened to Garvey. They don't know the details of it, but they know he ended up getting arrested. They know a lot of them think he got killed by the U.S., but he was deported. And they know he was a target his whole career. So, and they've seen other leaders, Malcolm Martin and others who have been killed or jailed for their efforts. So they don't want to come stand out front and be under that attack. That's one section of the fear. The other section of the fear is that they don't want to disappoint are close with. So
we missed about 5 seconds of what you said.
Sometimes people don't want to disappoint some people that they are close with. So they feel that speaking too black or being too radical as far as us having our own everything would offend their white friends. You know what I mean? Co-workers and things like that. They may have already participated in some conversations that was detrimental to our people, and now they can't walk that back. You know what I mean? And I'm saying these things because each one of these situations that I'm saying I've run into. I can tell you what, I'm not gonna mention his name, but a leader here in my city told me that Marcus Garvey and his movement was too radical, and so we cannot promote that.
Mm.
Right. And so now when you know that, this person knows what the movement was. He's not confused about it. This is not a person that would, that this doesn't know. He knows what we talking about. He said it's too radical for us to have our own everything. So what then is the alternative for us not to have our own everything? And so now if we do, Garvey had a quote for this guy. He said, any leadership that teaches you to depend on another race is a leadership that will enslave you. And here we are. And it's the same leadership that's been in front the whole time, running interference from stopping us from having liberation. Same people that came in front of Garvey that stopped him, that set him up, destroyed our boats, destroyed our airplanes. The same people that fraudulently brought him to court, to trial, that fraudulently convicted him because it was all overturned. These same black folks here in my city, some of our most famous black folks in our city were enemies of Garvey at the time, publicly so. And so when we say why won't they follow Garveyite philosophy, is because they a lot of times they've already been preaching the enemy's side. So the people who was enemies of Garvey, they've already bring this to them. And I explained this side to them, and now they realize it. They can't bring themselves to come to the black nationalist side because they've made their whole career off being on the other side of that. So to switch now would be a public embarrassment for them. So there's a lot of reasons. None of them is worth anything. I remember OGs back in the day used to be like, "You're a disgrace to your race." Remember that used to be an insult back in the day?
Yes, sir.
Disgrace to your race. I remember thinking that, it wasn't really that bad of an insult, but when you really think about it, it is the worst insult you could be.
Yes, sir.
And if you can't move for the unification and upliftment of your race, you are a disgrace to your race. It don't matter what the reason is. It's people that died for this. You know what I mean? It's people that jumped off the side of a boat so they wouldn't go through this, so their babies wouldn't go through this.
Right.
It's people that stood in front of water hoses, gunfire, got hung, castrated, beheaded, and we talking about we can't offend Karen and Tiffany in the office?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And it can't be a scenario where they would say we haven't done it before. And I remember going through, I was back in the city with my wife, and we're walking, and my daughter was dancing at the Broadway school, doing an internship or what have you, and doing some contemporary and African dance. And we were just about to hit Central Park. And I caught a glimpse of what all the mayonnaise folks were doing in Central Park. And a wave just hit me like, wow, like across my head, like this was our folk situation. This is Seneca Village. This is what our people were supposed to be doing. This was the repossessed land and the repossessed room of our folks that they chose to pave away and water away for their luxury and enjoyment.
Yep.
And my wife was pissed. She was like, "Why we just can't go in Central Park?" I said, "You know the reason to that." And it's a hard reality. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard thing. That who don't want to go to a park and enjoy sunshine? But when you come across those sorts of pivotal moments in your mind, you got to stand for something or fall for anything. And I had to do a 360 and get us up out of there because I was like, I'm not going to frolic in these woods, not right now.
Especially when we realized that it eventually was the cemetery as well. You went from the village to the burial ground and then to this. So it's like, whoa, y'all really did it.
Right. And I'm like, am I going to walk into an energy field and take on some of that nasty, karma that's circulating in that area? Because it can't be good. You frolicking over people's what was people's legacy and what people, the remnants of what they were trying to do on this planet Earth when they were here with their families and their homes and so forth. That's not good. That's not good juju for real. Which, you know, so I kind of harken it back to that. And then now we're here, fast forward, and we're talking about holiday zombies, just kind of, you know, doing it on autopilot. And my question was, when is our independence moment, especially considering that there were more than 5, more than 10 actual independence moments throughout our history that we could have said if they asked us, you know, what about when our folks down there in Florida with the nose was kicking ass and taking names,
right?
And Jessup had to say, you know what? If y'all just give us a break, we let you go. Just give us a break. Don't, you know, don't scalp no more of us. Don't put that thing on no more of us. You know, in that Black and Seminole War, don't do that, and we're good. And I would have been good with that one. Any of them that you could think of? Any of those kind of independence moments that you could think of?
Specific dates, maybe not, but there's events,
you know, or what have you. I'm just trying to think, like, who asked us?
Right. Well, again, the only,
you know, I get your opportunity. You know, go ahead, bro.
I definitely get your point. Except the brothers that did begin what we call Juneteenth, right? Sort of, right. So we got to give, you know, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think the people here in Buffalo got it from that original group as well. I think they started up here back in the 70s. We on 46 years right now.
Okay.
This is the 46, and they skipped a couple, so it might have been somewhere in 50 years ago they started doing it up here. Yeah. But no, you're right. But see, that's the thing. So one thing that I noticed when I was looking up, you know, Black nationalists and Garveyite history was that a lot of these people, they're smarter than me, right? People know these things. They know Garveyite history better than me, some of them, right? Yeah. And so they had to know that there were certain holidays that we do have. August 31st, for example, was a holiday that was designated for us to basically just celebrate us, a literal holiday. Now it's purposeful, celebrating, having fun, dancing. That's what it's for. Folks don't want to do that. If it's not sanctioned by white folks already, Black folks don't feel comfortable with it. You know what I mean?
Right. Like we created Memorial Day. Why we just don't? Why we just don't recoup that and use that? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. You know, if it sticks,
right though.
If it don't, no.
So that's two things right there from way back in them days that we did create, and it's like, yo, I mean, just off rip, just to add another thing that we created. Like you look at the Panthers and how they created their breakfast program. You know what I'm saying, that the schools use today. You know, now I use the example of all our best players are playing for the other team and desire to play for the other team too. So what we need to do is get them to desire to play for our own team, and then we build a thing for us. And eventually it will be the thing that gets sold to others and things like that or whatever, and others will follow it. But we have to, like Claude Anderson says, we have to create our own thing, protect it, you know what I'm saying, and then build off of that. You know what I mean? But until we have a thing, I was struggling to find a word, but it was right there in the title of the thing. We just running around here like zombies.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. You know, these things are just things for us to have a higher thought on. That's the apropos to the title of the show, the Real HD Show. The higher discussion. We want to have a higher, you know, we just don't want to let things like this slide. We don't just want to let them just go by like they don't deserve attention, and they don't deserve, you know, mention, and they don't deserve a deeper look or a second look like the old school book. Take a second look. I don't know if you remember that from I'm dating myself, the 80s and the 90s. Take a second look. I love the title of that book. I thought they should have continued that and just did other subject matter, you know. But anyhow, yeah, these things need a deeper dive. These things need a deeper way. And then, of course, after we strategize and all of that, we need to put these things into action so that we can be better off for it in the rest of the 21st century and beyond. Let me I think we gotta. Okay, yeah, bro. Yeah, we getting ready to wrap it up. As a matter of fact, because what's the hour right now? Yes, yep, there we go. We on the dizzy, 9 on the dizzy. So we thank you, brother Lion. Man, you welcome anytime you want, anytime you wanna, anytime you got something going on in the rough buff, come through. Please patronize us and let us know what's going on. Anything we got going on with the UNIA, let us know what's popping. We love to see you. We'd love to see your face next time, bro. Jump on in, you know, and let us see you live in the flesh. That's the best. And we'll let you sign off. You got the last word, you and your wife.
All right. Did you want to say something? First of all, I want to say it was an honor to be a guest. You know what I'm saying? Long time listener, first time caller. You know how they do. And we are having something up here soon. In August, we'll be having the Black Buffalo Convention, where UNIA is hosting. We propose that all the different Black organizations in the city come together with at least one representative. Let's put proposals on the table. Everybody propose something as a solution to Black Buffalo, and we, move as a unit to affect that. And I hope that eventually, Rochester will be able to, grab that blueprint, do the Black Rochester Convention, and we start following suit. And now we move as a unit across the country. So that's the plan. So just look for that Black Buffalo Convention if you in the Buffalo area. And I'm coming to Rochester soon.
Yeah, man. Let me know, man. We will get up. Maybe we'll get Diallo in on the situation. We got CJI in on the situation, and we'll do it up real big. And
Yes,
please jump it in on. I didn't get real far because audience, you know how I like to do. I come with my receipts. I come with my articles. I come with my books. I come with everything. I come equipped for whatever we have, but it's not more important than the conversation. It's not more important than getting us to a higher discussion. So we could do all of the stuff. We could do all of the fancy slides and graphics later. The higher discussion is the more important part. Please like, share, and subscribe. Timestamp anything that you find super interesting and want to comment on. We are on 5 platforms. On Facebook, we are on YouTube, Prime Time with a Purpose. We are on Twitch TV. We are on Twitter, and we are on Instagram, as the young people say, Instagram. So reach out to us. Let us know what you found important, what you found pivotal. Best comment gets put on the show live on Monday, on a Madness Monday episode. And we're going to say this to y'all, like we always say, peace and walk with power. We love y'all, man. Love on each other. Be good to each other. Stay tuned Monday for the Real HD. We out. Peace.